Part 4. The Fight Back.
Facebook faces the biggest challenge it's ever faced in its history.
That's Fred Vogelstein. He's been covering Silicon Valley for almost 2 decades, and he's now a contributing editor at Wired magazine in the US.
There's absolutely a recognition within the company that there's a problem, and Zuckerberg doesn't want to be a pariah. He's created this incredible tool. People seem to be using it for ill in many ways. If he doesn't fix that, they risk the entire franchise.
For months, he says, Mark Zuckerberg and senior Facebook executives denied there was a problem. People spreading fake news on Facebook to influence the US election? Crazy, said Mark Zuckerberg days after Trump won.
If you've spent the past 10 years of your life building something that has turned out to be an enormous success, it's very hard to imagine that it's, instead of bringing people together, tearing them apart. And I think just as a human being, it was difficult for Zuckerberg to come to grips with that.
But now it seems he has. Mark Zuckerberg no longer denies there's a problem with fake news and hate speech, and he's got plans for getting it off Facebook.
Until quite recently, the content that attracted the most attention on Facebook were short news bits with clickbaity headlines. Facebook is starting to discourage those kinds of stories and to encourage longer, more in-depth pieces, stories that will make them feel like they've learned something rather than just eaten a piece of candy.
And what does that mean in practice, though? So, for a user of Facebook who's listening to this right now, how would it change their experience of Facebook?
So one of the things that most people don't think about when they look at newsfeed is that whether or not the story is from the BBC or Wired or the New York Times, it all looks very much the same as stories about my dog, your daughter's wedding. So, for example, one of the things that I think you're going to see Facebook do is make it easier to identify various news brands that you're familiar with.
The idea is that with those visual cues, it'll be easier to spot fake news. So Facebook won't be doing the fact-checking itself. It's outsourcing it to us. It's also experimenting with what it calls a downvote button, where people can make comments about posts, saying whether they think they're misleading or offensive. And that's not all. Facebook isn't just going after fake news. It's going after the millions of fake users too.
They're hiring something like 10,000 people to better check how accounts are being used on Facebook. But obviously, Facebook can't actually start requiring people to present a passport or a driver's license every time they want to open a Facebook account. Do I think that they'll be able to be perfect at it? No.
And here we get to the crux of Facebook's problem. However many people it hires, however many fake accounts it closes down, it'll never be able to weed out every piece of hate speech or fake news. And come election time, as the losing side picks over what went wrong, it'll be easy to blame Facebook.
And so the challenge that Facebook faces is it could do everything right over the course of the next 6 months, but it could also wind up getting tarred just as hard.
So is Facebook in trouble? Well, 1 billion people are still logging on every day, and it's still one of the biggest and most powerful companies in the world. But power has come at a cost. Its own executives say they never imagined the forces it would unleash, and now they want to rein them in. The question for Facebook is this: can it clamp down on the fake news and hate speech without losing its original mission? Connecting people and allowing them to express themselves. Get the balance wrong, and people will fall away. And just as Facebook grew because everyone started signing up, once enough people log off, it could create a momentum that's hard to stop.